What's up, everybody? Tyler, your wandering therapist here. I'm actually just out on my back patio. I decided to take on a project to try to restain the pergola at my house. You can kind of see where it's been done and where it's partially been done. Me and my daughter have been trying to take care of this, but I just had an experience with a principle that came from a John Eldredge book, and I just wanted to speak to it a little bit because I'm right in the middle of the emotion of it all right now, and wanted to maybe just normalize it for any other men who might be out there who could relate to this. So in John Eldredge's books, I think it's in Fathered by God, he talks about this experience that he has where he goes outside and he's been telling his wife that he's got to change the backflow valve in his sprinkling system. And he goes out there and he spends all day out there and he can't quite get it figured out. And he's just feeling all this irritability and frustration and kind of like wondering why he can't get it done. And all to the very end of it all, when he sits down and actually really thinks about it, it's like he kind of curses and is like, "Where's my dad?" And then he talks. Then he goes in to talk a little bit about the father wound, and then about the masculine wound, and like the question that every man has in his heart, that what he really wants to answer is, "Am I a man? Do I have what it takes?" And I think all of us have that somewhere deep inside. That's how we want to show up. We want to show up being competent and confident for our families, and inevitably we find ourselves in situations where that shame part of us gets hit because we can't be competent or confident in everything. And if you guys have seen that old commercial, I think it was an Allstate commercial where it shows some guy out in his backyard with like some power tools, and he says, I might be a dentist, but I know a thing or two about home improvement. And then he turns the saw on and the saw flies backwards and goes through his window and breaks his house all up. And then it's like, you know, I think it's a Mayhem commercial. Today was, I might be a therapist, but I know a thing or two about home improvement. And it's pretty obvious. You can see where my daughter's been standing up above there. Those are the lines where we got done tonight before it's going to get dark. There's probably 3 or 4 more coats that have to go on there. If I were to hire somebody, they could have come in an afternoon and banged this thing out and got it done. But instead, I took it upon myself to be the one who provided for this in my family. And it's really kind of out of my wheelhouse a little bit because I'm a good therapist. I'm not so good at home improvement. So I'm having that opened up right now. And it maybe just pause and want to speak to that in terms of anybody else who might be thinking those things. We tend to compare ourselves to the very best of every single category. And so I'm going to compare myself to my neighbor who's actually a builder who would come over here and mock me for what I'm doing. In fact, some of you guys watching this will mock me for what I'm doing right now, probably. And that's great if you do. But I'm going to compare myself to whatever he could produce. Meanwhile, he's over there comparing himself to how he wishes he might be able to talk to his wife like I do. And I don't even know that because secretly we carry this. And so in essence, we all compare ourselves to the very best of everyone else around us. And then we walk around feeling defective, and that defectiveness fuels our shame, and that shame wants to take us out. And it wants to make us sit on the sidelines. It wants to make us feel like we're not enough. And then when we feel like we're not enough, that's when we go and we pursue the things to try to cope that numb us, or that try to fill the void that don't really produce anything good. And so I just wanted to throw a shout out to every one of you men who compares yourself to every other guy around you that's really good at what he does, to maybe just take a moment and consider what you're really good at and what your natural strengths are, because it's already built into you. And you don't have to compare yourself to the next guy down the road. And if you want to make yourself feel better, compare yourself to what I'm doing on my pergola right now. Because I'm sure you could probably do a better job than what I've done. I think I had 2 spills, dropped it all over the patio twice. I'm going to now have to get something to clean my patio, and now I'm going to spend more hours and time and money than I could have if I just hired somebody. But at the end of the day, I will have done it because I might be a therapist, but I know a thing or two about home improvement. So if this resonates with you guys, I'd love to hear about it. If it doesn't, I'd love for you to get on and make some fun with me. That's fine. So you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for being here with me. If you found this to be valuable for you, please hit the like and subscribe button. If you're facing particular struggles that you need help with or roadblocks that you're running into, please submit a question. I'd be happy to answer it for you.